she still can't even stand.
She's so wobbly.
Sean Whaley is furious.
She's upset. But 100%.
Oh, kid, huge week, not just for us and our song, but for Rose Namajunas, baby. How
Might
the hell
be the
you
last time. It might be the last time we ever hear that.
We will see. Hopefully not. But how you guys doing? Welcome in, everyone. This is a brand new episode of Axe Kick Picks, episode 181. Today is Friday the 13th, and guess who's playing Jason? Kid, right off the top, you believe in that kind of shit, Friday 13th, and all these superstitions?
I'm a baseball player. You know we're superstitious. Especially when Coastal Baseball is going to be playing
2 o'clock. They started. And last time we were on, you doubted them, and they fucking beat War Eagles. Fuck them.
Get out of here! I never doubted them once.
You're like, oh, they're the underdog. Run the tape back. Like,
Run it back. That's right.
Plus money. Shot.
World Series future incoming.
I mean, Arkansas is good, kid. Arkansas is good. LSU's good.
How was your week so far, brother?
My week's been all right. A lot of working in Manhattan, I'll tell you that. You mean like just in general or betting wise?
Oh man, you can tell me how your bets have been going. I know you touch all the different
yeah.
sports. Baseball, cricket.
No cricket. Overs 4-0 in the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. Back-to-back. It's a zigzag theory. Same thing in the NBA Finals. Fuck Halliburton, but you got to give them credit. They're good. Betting's been okay. Mets, best team in the league.
Get that right.
Pete Alonso needs to fucking learn how to throw the ball. I'll tell you that.
Kodai Senga.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I was going to go to the game tonight, actually. I was going to buy myself just a fucking single ticket firework night, kid. Clay Holmes on the mound, but decided not to.
Got to pitch a gem. So.
Yeah.
How about you? I got a little bit of info. I had actually a loaded combat sports week so far. I was at Trigon yesterday. Got to see a lot of knockouts there. PFL was on right after that. I got to say the co-main and the main event were actually exciting. Got to see.
Shout out that Gene.
Bro, the Peruvian powerhouse, though, Jesus Pinedo, bro, he's just knocking fools out. So, I had to give him some shout out. But like you said, the silverback, that Gene, the Haitian sensation that he is, bro. I mean, he beat, Action Jackson, Jason Jackson. That's a big win for him. So we'll see what he could do at 170 and for the final. I also watched one Friday Fights 112 this morning. Bunch of knockouts there. On Dash had a crazy knockout to end it. And, man, I think I saw Risen this weekend. There's LFA 210. Octagon is also on, and hell, even your boy Phil DeFry is defending his KSW title at KSW 107.
Absolute legend, Phil DeFry.
11 consecutive title defenses. He hasn't lost since like 2017.
He trains with Tommy Aspinall. So legends, both of them. Hey. But yeah, it's been a loaded weekend. I was gonna ask you if you watch PFL. Fucking late start time. The fuck is that?
That'd be the only complaint. Luckily for me, I was busy and I got to tune in and still see something. But man, it's just like Apex cards. Our argument is just throw them on a little earlier so we don't have to go to bed past our times and got to go.
It was ridiculous. Shout out Logan Storley. He won as well. Magomed Ulamateyov, he won as well. He actually got the knockout first round against Anthony Ivy as well. So
I think Kabulayev is back too. Movlid Kabulayev.
Yeah, he won unanimous decision 30-27 times 3.
A tough fight at 45 for Pinedo.
But
right? It is right.
I know Jason Jackson was the huge favorite going into the fight. I think that Gene might win the fucking thing. I hope he gets a date with Dakota Ditcheva as well.
They got to get that fight for her going. It just can't be milking the prime. But oh yeah, that's right. But that was a split. He has that power early. I think
they both came out hot.
They came out hot, but Jason Jackson with his counter wrestling, he kind of put that to bed. So the threat was gone in the first, and it could have gone either way. But Thad Gene, he got the split. So I think, like you said, it'll be Thad Gene and Storley in the final, right? And then you got Kabulayev and Pinedo in the 45s.
Who's your pick?
I got to go Pinedo. And then I think, honestly, I hate to say it, if we saw Jason Jackson have success wrestling, Logan Storley might wrestle Thad Gene out the building.
I'm going to see if there is.
Probably not yet.
No odds. Yeah,
There's definitely no odds if they can't even get the matches going. They can't match make that quick.
Sad.
Come on, Davis, you did it finally.
What's wrong with him?
I don't know. Shit. I mean, money. They're hemorrhaging. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
BKFC is better than you.
Hey, I saw Josh from BKB over there at Trigon yesterday. So, man, it's good to see those promotions kind of flourishing. See, that's how you throw an event and make some money,
Would you say real quick, and then we could get into UFC 316 because I got a lot to say there.
Oh, yeah.
Would you say it's better in the under promotions in the WWE with like the indie circuit or outside of the UFC? Because outside of the UFC, there's not a lot.
I don't think the indies are really making much money either, but if you could look at like NXT, obviously that's a little more advanced. I guess
Joe Cardona.
I guess the product could be better for the mixed martial arts regional scenes than it would be for the independent circuit of wrestling. But I think if you get to a next step up and you're in the farm system, so to speak, you have some for all these sports except for mixed martial arts and WWE. Closest thing to it, as we mentioned, is like NXT, and we could say the lower leagues like PFL at the moment. I think that production level is a little bit better on the mixed martial arts side.
Yeah, and everyone does it. I know a lot of people, they get cut from the WWE, they go on the indie circuit, but they always wind up coming back a little later. So
I think you saw Abel Stevenson behind the scenes. Did you not?
Me? Did I see him?
Or was he doing because I think there's also that Dirty Box.
Shout out Dirty Box and Mike Perry, John Jones. I think they're owners. Yeah, I think he's headlining it.
Yeah, but I thought Caceres had like a like controversy with the weigh-in. So there's a lot going on in combat sports world. I'll tell you
huge, but we should start UFC 316. Merab Dvalishvili.
He's the truth.
North Star choke, third round against Sean O'Malley. What a fucking performance. And all the narrative that he doesn't finish people, throw that shit out the window.
Goodbye.
Done. He's in that TJ Dillashaw range. He's better than Dominic Cruz. I think he needs one more. He needs one more defense to tie his best friend Aljo at the most defenses at bantamweight history.
Yeah, man. The argument Dominic Cruz, what we saw, it's a little nostalgia, right? And then he's a two-time champ coming back and doing so. I think Merab is the best, man. Because if you were to square them in their primes, I think Merab just, like I said, Logan Story would wrestle Thad Gene out the room. Merab might wrestle Dom Cruz out the room, right?
100%.
Yeah. So the gas tank, just his tenacity. I mean, he's just a cool guy, right? It's just everything about him, man. And we all can admire Merab for what he is as a person, as character, but then we can also now admire him in there. He proved me wrong, made me swallow my words. So all credit to Merab. Got a chance to see him in person, It was all meant to be. Like, you know what I mean? It was all meant to be like it was there for us to kind of pick up on. You got to, read between the lines what's to come. And shame on me for not doing so. But after seeing that, I think he's the best of bantamweight of all time. I know it's Dom Cruz still.
No, I agree. And I think even after Corey Sandhagen, he's getting to Pantoja status where he's just going to be lapping the division. Yeah. I don't know what's next. Maybe a super fight with Pantoja down the road. We'll talk about that. But to be honest, on the fight, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I was watching something different. I didn't think Sean O'Malley looked better. I thought the first fight he looked better. And people are like, "Oh, he stopped 6 takedowns." Look at the stats in the first fight. He stopped 6 takedowns.
Forget about Sean.
Yeah.
How about we were ignoring the champ all this time? He went and got the championship through Sean at Noche, increased his stardom tenfold. Then he goes on to defend and makes Umar look almost amateur. Granted, it was a close 100%. Fight, but he took him to school. So through that fight, I think we forgot that Merab has gotten way better. Like, we're all eyes on Sean, the big plus money value. Obviously, that entices me a lot. And the character, a little bit with the heart, meeting him, taking pictures, all that stuff combined. You look at Merab being forgotten about. He's a champion for a reason. He's gone through the toughest fights he can, and he's gotten better through all that time. Right now, he's in the prime of his career. He doesn't seem to be slowing down. And like I said, if we compare primes for primes and just who they are as fighters, I think I got to admit it. Marab is the best bantamweight we've ever seen.
100%.
Yeah, and Aljo, for all the controversy that he had, he's top like 3-4, right? You could say maybe TJ, Dom Cruz, of course. Maybe Cody Garbrandt for a night when he beat Dom. One night. He was the greatest of all time. So you got to give No Love some credit, especially he's fighting on the Atlanta card. So, man, it was entertaining. We got to see the finish. Yeah. And, I mean, Marab moves to number 2 in pound-for-pound list. And he deserves that, bro.
If he beats Corey Sandhagen this year, he's number 1 for me.
I was going to say he could easily go to 1, man. So
he might be my fighter of the year.
Yeah. Honestly, was Umar this year as well? Was it earlier this year?
I don't remember who was my fighter of the year. I got to go back, but
Umar's fight when he fought him, was it earlier this year? Or was it last year? It was
no. It was earlier this year.
So already 2 title defenses in 2025, man. He's probably arguably going to be fighter of the year.
It's incredible. I mean, and if you looked at him, he could have fought another 5-6 rounds. And you know what? I got to give Sean O'Malley credit real quick because I don't think a lot of fighters do this. I love the way he went about it. He didn't downplay his opponent and say, you know what, he's shit, because if he would have did that, if he's shit and you're even worse.
You're rat shit.
It's good to build up your opponent. He said all week, listen, hey, the guy's a motherfucker. He's strong as hell, but I think I'm better. That's confidence. I appreciate that. That's what I think.
Any given Sunday. Remember that movie? It could be any other person's night, any man's night, any woman's night there.
Yeah.
And I like, you're right. The way Deshaun absorbed the loss, he was looking at the replay. You like when you see the fighters that are on the losing end kind of just, be humble in defeat. And, obviously the victors in those are always willing to, lend a hand. I remember going back, it was like the big dude, like Vander something. He fought Alexei Oleinik when he did the reverse Ezekiel on him, right? You know what I'm talking about? Jared Veranda, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And it was after, and he was just like, hey, like, show me how you did. Like, that's why I felt like Sean was with Marab. I think he's earned a lot of respect both ways. I think both guys have earned each other's respect in there. But, for Sean, he's definitely taken a step back here.
I mean, if you listen to his podcast with Coach Tim, he even said it. He was very obviously a little bummed and disappointed, but he was very like, hey, he felt strong in there, really like realizing the moment, saying, hey, he was better. I got to really regroup. And I don't think a lot of people are like, oh, he's done at 135.
But that's my point as well. Do you think, has he struggled with the 135? Or Marab probably could fight 45 in a sense.
Yeah, he can.
But would he struggle against 45ers? I feel like he would be better where he is.
I do too. And I think there are a lot of fun fights at 135.
There are. And it's just that you have the machine as the champ. And it's, we've seen it time and time again. If there wasn't for that one guy being the champ, you would be the man. And I think 45 isn't going to be, as welcoming. Sometimes we say it, grass isn't greener on the other side. It's where you water it. So Sean just goes back to the lab and probably stays at 135. I think he'll be better here. And maybe down the line, seeing what happens.
Maybe
he can get back.
And also he was very observant, saying, hey, listen, I'm probably not going to main card. Like, I'm not fighting for the title. I'm probably going to be a co-main, maybe a featured bout. Yeah. But I'm very realizing the moment.
He'll sell. That's the thing. Still got name, and still has the skill on the feet to knock pretty much anyone out.
I want to ask you a question, though, because you brought up Aljo. I thought holding the most title defenses, he should have got an immediate rematch. He didn't. Obviously not. But Sean did. And I had no problem with Sean getting it, even though there were arguments that he didn't deserve it. Do you think if Marab slips up, which I don't think he will, I don't think they'll give Marab an immediate rematch.
I like that take, but remember, I think I tweeted about it as well. I think why they didn't give Aljo such a rematch was because it was that teammate situation with him and Marab. In a sense, they were kind of both holding each other back in a way. It was like, I'm not going to fight my teammate, and I think it was like, well, your unwillingness to go ahead and accept the fight, which, people could, argue was the fight to make. I know it's between teammates, which sucks, but the UFC eyes and the business eyes, that doesn't fly. So I feel like they, unfortunate for Aljo, they were like, look, let's keep the division moving. And we wouldn't have Marab as champion if they didn't do that. Right. So it all kind of worked out for Sarah Longo and for all fighters above, because Aljo seems to find a home at 145 where he seems more suitable there than as we argued with Sean. So
it was good. Marab, I don't know if you saw it, in New York, obviously people know him, but he's not huge like I don't know, fucking like Tom Brady, for example. But did you see the scenes in Georgia? He's like the president,
bro. Yeah, dude. And then he went over there. It's so awesome to see, bro. He's so inspirational. I just got to say, like, you remember if you've seen that one video that was making its rounds? It was the kid coming out of surgery, and it's like,
and he said sorry.
Marab beat Sean. Oh man, he's like, I hate
Marab. And then he responded. You gotta love it because he's so humble. He's the same guy Aljo said, and everybody in New York, everyone as Sarah Longo says, even though he lives out in Vegas, he goes, listen, he's the same guy when he came into this country, like, and to today. So he's very inspiring. He said even Aljo, because Aljo's getting married, he goes, oh, because I know he doesn't like sparring, I'll give you half of my winning bonus as a wedding gift. Very generous.
Exactly. He's got sponsorships. He's got more money coming. So
I mean, he's loaded now. Shout out Marab, man. Like you said, he moved up 2 spots. He is the number 2 pound.
We wanted to see his personality flourish in the octagon, and he did exactly that. He proved all of us doubters are wrong, and I'm included.
Yeah, I'll say, and we'll segue to the co-main real quick. You know what I like too? We got clarity immediate after. Sandhagen is next, just like what we know is next for the co-main event. Correct? Yep. Do you like this matchup with Sandhagen?
You could argue Peter Yan, right? But we saw
he has that matchup with McGee.
Yeah, no, I know exactly, but people are arguing Yan should have gotten it over Sandhagen. I think Sandhagen's been looking for a title for quite a while. He's proved his point. He deserves the shot. I think we like maybe the Sean Corey matchup. That would have been entertaining, but Rob is going to make anything entertaining. So Peter Yan's got a big test. McGee's no joke. Who was the other one? What they had thrown out? Yair Rodriguez. He didn't deserve that. So,
what do you think about Marab Corey Sandhagen? Because they'll probably fight October, maybe Madison Square Garden, maybe November.
I think Sandhagen's going to have to work elbows on the feet and on the ground. I think he may be spending some time in the bottom guard. So I think he's going to have to work his guard and work maybe elbows. I think hurting Marab in those ways may be his best path, you know. Maybe it seems like Marab ain't going out. It doesn't seem like he's going to gas. I think your best option is to try to like cut him, right? So or try to submit him, try to catch him in something. So I think those two may be the way for Sandhagen to kind of approach it. But you don't know. He's very creative. He could come up with any way and any type of game plan. And that's just what it'll make it more entertaining to see because we know what we're getting with Marab.
It doesn't matter. You stop 6 takedowns. He will not stop shooting. It doesn't. He's so relentless. And I love John, training with John Wood and Syndicate. Like he is starting to see that finishing ability and he's getting better with his hands.
Bro, his corner too. They were like, yo, Marab's corner. Look at like GSP's corner back in the day. We had Faraz and John Danaher and then Jackson Wink. And it's just like a powerhouse corner Marab has. He's building a super team.
Aljo. Ray, John Wood.
That's right.
And then don't forget Matt Serra too. Sometimes, like, when you surround yourself with greatness, you also become great. And I couldn't be happier for Marab. He's one of the nicest guys. And I
argue that Sarah Longo might be the greatest camp of all time.
Or like Jackson Wink or one of them.
I just think the comeback stories, right? Being counted out,
and they're so close. We love that, Joe. Like, did you see when they came out? Marab was getting checked. He goes, "No, hold on, I gotta say what's up to Chris Weidman."
Yeah, exactly. Carolina Chris.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so
will be. I think he's gonna be corner Stephen Wonderboy, right?
And everything like him beating Anderson Silva, Aljo becoming champion, Marab becoming champion, like. They got legends in the gym, bro.
It's a beautiful thing, man. You gotta consider them some of the best.
Yeah. Kayla fucking Harrison becomes one of the 2 athletes to become an Olympic champion and also a UFC champion. Not double champ like my boy Triple C, but still I mean, what a fucking dominant performance. And you love all the shit banner and talking. And because Juliana really built up the fight. Got to give her credit for that. Love the whole praying for each other after the fight. Yeah. They squash everything. They really don't have any beef. All respect. You gotta love
trying
it.
To get in each other's minds, you know.
But man, Kayla Harrison is a fucking beast. Her story's crazy because she came out and said, "Listen, like making 135, like she can't make it." God takes away that last pound for me, and then tying the whole John 316 at UFC 316. I was like, oh yeah, she's out here spitting a promo. But look at the resume, Joe. I know people could say, listen, at PFL, outside of Larissa Pachenko, she was fighting cans. I think that's a valid argument.
Okay.
But in the UFC, that's a death row. Holly
Holm, welcome to the UFC.
Hall of
Caitlin
Famer.
Vieira.
Great. Top 5.
That's right.
Juliana Pena, 2-time champ.
Exactly.
And now she's going to fight the quote-unquote
It's happening. 100%. And it's going to be at 145, right? Like, that's what they decided?
Nothing's concrete. But I was going to ask you that if I'm Kayla, double champ, you got to do it at 145.
Right. Yeah, man. I kind of said that. I said, like you said, that last pound that God's got to take out. That's rough, man. I don't think it'd be the best for her health either. You know, if you want to have a champion that's going to be dominant, and you can keep the 135-pound division moving, right? I think
that was my
Kayla
question.
at
Who
145.
Then,
man, bring your girl Julia Pena back now.
Wait, Rocky, just run it back.
I guess you're right. I guess it's going to be a little difficult to kind of surmise what could occur, right? But I'm glad that I seen the vault, because I remember, man, this seems like yesterday, but bro, it was like 10 years ago. Like when Cejudo was champion and stuff, and they were like asking Khabib, they're like, who do you think is Kayla Harrison had that bet with Cejudo? Like, who do you think is the greatest combat sports athlete of all time? And they're both giving their resumes, right? Kayla's like this, Henry's like that, and all of a sudden Khabib drops Daniel Cormier. I just had to, give that a shout out, because that was one of the greatest, like 30-second little segments I remember seeing. I remember watching it on the Embeddeds live, and then here we are 10 years later seeing it come to fruition. So, I mean, every, hope, dream, and aspiration she wanted and set out for herself, she accomplished with the victory over Juliana Pena. You got one right with the Merab, and I got the right with Kayla. I just, I should have seen it with Merab, that how dominant that wrestling can be, the judo, the grappling, how strong physically they are. And they seem to have a great gas tank, and they're committed to make their weights, and they're just the best champions we could possibly ask for at this time at their weight classes, I think. So God bless Kayla Harrison. I'm sure Juliana Pena will be back. Like you said, if maybe they do move them to 145, maybe we could see her, if not in a title picture, one fight away, because she deserves it. But it was great to see Kayla Harrison get that belt.
Now, since I've been watching, I think this is going to be the biggest fight in women's history, Nunes-Harrison. But a lot of people are speculating maybe Nunes-Ronda Rousey, Nunes-Cyborg. What's the biggest, in your opinion, women's fight in the MMA?
Well, I actually think this would be. I think Kayla Harrison, in terms of accolades, yes. But in terms of sales, I think the Ronda Rousey, Amanda Nunes sold the most. And I think it's going to hard to top.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in terms of that, yeah, it's just because how big of a star Ronda was, and coming back and then having to just go through the lioness was no easy task. I think people expected, they had a little higher expectations for Ronda, but she was kind of already out the door. And, she put quick work to that. So I think on accolades level and legacy, I think now this is probably the biggest fight in women's mixed martial arts history. Maybe we can get a super fight. We had the Valentina and Amanda Nunes. Those were controversial. They weren't that big. Like you said, Ronda and Amanda. We didn't get Chris Cyborg thrown up in there with Kayla Harrison, but we saw that Amanda Nunes dispatched her really quickly in the first round. So
quick.
Yeah, I got to say that this next upcoming fight, Amanda Nunes coming out of retirement and Kayla Harrison being the champ finally, defending the belt at 135 if that's the case, or if it'll be going for a vacant title at 145, I think that's going to be the biggest women's fight ever.
Yeah, I don't know how long she can make 135 anymore. Maybe 1-2 more times, if that, but it's not healthy at this point.
I think you're right. If Nunes also kind of gets in and says, hey, like, if we want to fight, I'm going to have to do it at the classes that are already established. I'm able to make 135. If you want to fight me coming out of retirement, I would ask, I know you're the champ, but that you make that weight as well. So I think there's as much pool as Amanda has.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
What I don't believe is that they're all being political and saying, oh, it's all friendly now. No, I don't think they like each other. The whole gym thing.
But there's an absolute respect.
There's respect.
Yes.
But I think two things could be true. I could love you, Joe, but I don't have to like you. I could respect
you and not like you. Absolutely. Yeah. Or I can like you and not respect you too. You don't want that. But
I want to hear what happens with all these gym stories. Why did you leave, Amanda? Why did you, in the sparring, why did you quit after 2 rounds?
Questions that may be answered when they fight.
Yeah, so I can't wait for that. That is the fight to make.
Yeah, 100%.
So we'll see. But
Joe Rogan pushing him. Oh, let her in. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yo, when they didn't let her in, I said, "Fuck,
you guys
them
are
up,
fools."
Amanda.
Where's
Yeah,
Dana? Nah,
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's the one to step up.
Yeah, and they're like, no, she got to come in. Shout out Joey Diaz too, being front and center cage side. I love
Birdie
fucking
had
Joey.
straight. He was sitting right next to him.
Really?
He had pictures he sent me. I was like, oh, snap.
Wow,
So how
that's
much was that?
amazing. All right, let's go to the next one. Joe Pyfer, unanimous decision over Kelvin Gastelum.
From the main event highs we just had to this little, it was a little lackluster.
I thought it was. I to be honest, because I did not appreciate. I don't know. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, or you heard anything different. The UFC commentary, Joe Rogan was trying to give credit to Kelvin Gastelum and saying, "Hey, this is a close fight." Maybe I'm wrong and I haven't seen it, but I didn't think the fight was very close at all. Yeah, he was tough to put away, but I think the expectation is so high with Joe Pyfer. If he doesn't finish someone, it's like, a disappointment.
Yeah, he drops him in the first. Drops him in the first. Maybe he loses the second, arguably, right?
I thought he won all three.
It was just there wasn't much of a threat. He's so small, Gastelum at 185, man. It's hard to get those combos in boxing up, you know. And Pyfer's so big. It just seemed he had the octagon control, he had the aggression, you know, and Gastelum was just playing, you know, backpedaling, playing defense the whole time. Where he had some, you know, he had some good boxing combos thrown in. I think he had more volume, but it was just that threat after the first round being knocked down. It was Gastelum playing catch up throughout. So yeah, you could say he won every single round, but I would felt like the second after getting knocked down, yeah, Gastelum catch up a little, but then he just didn't do anything in the third. So yeah, it was unanimous for Pyfer.
Would you like to see a top 15 fight for Joe Pyfer next?
I think we have to, right? Would I like to? Yeah. I mean, why not? It's time, right?
What if I give you a name, Marvin Vittori?
The dude that don't really go to sleep. We saw what happened when they bid a big jump for him, right? Didn't he get pieced up by Jack Hermanson? No, Joe Pyfer.
Hermanson. Yeah,
Hermanson put work on him. So yeah, man. And I'm looking right now. Where the hell is Jack Hermanson? Bro, where the hell is he? He's not even ranked.
Nope.
So yeah, man, if you want to get him a ranked opponent, the guy who doesn't really go out, Marvin Vittori's never been knocked out, right?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, RDR's getting the big jump.
He deserves it. Just like as Kayla went through Murderer's Row.
Yeah.
I mean, RDR's getting a similar treatment. No easy roads to the title, and here you are.
We'll talk about Joshua Van, but he's getting the big jump too. Stay
Stepped
ready.
Up, that's right.
One of the most disappointing. I've seen Patchy Mix and Bellator piece people up. I've seen him submit people. When I just talked about a few minutes ago about what Sean O'Malley did right about hyping his opponent up, he said he was going to submit his coaches, and then you stand and you show us that. I was watching the fights with Ant, and I was like, what is this?
Who is that? Yeah, for real. That wasn't Patrick Mix that I remember.
And then he comes out and says, "Oh, I took it on short." No, he walked back everything. No, that was one of the worst performances I've ever seen. Yeah. Shout out Mario Batista.
100%.
He pieced him up for all 3 rounds, and I hope he gets a big fight next. And how dare the UFC not give him a mic after that?
Bro, that's crazy. That's the thing. It's like people dislike Mario Batista.
What, for no reason.
He Aldo. What? Because he beat Patchy Mix. He's a tough out for anybody.
He held Jose Aldo, and then the next fight against a guy like Patchy Mix with his resume, he stood and banged with him for 3 rounds. But what do you want from him?
I'm going on record that he's a kind of a dark horse, though he's ranked.
Mario 9 in a row.
Yeah, bro. You give him a fight that is going to be a big name next. He could be in the title picture, right? Sneaky. So yeah, I think it's just like the dislike. I mean, we're fickle, right? We're very fickle with our fighters.
That word.
So it's a shame to see that a guy who's very talented, Mario Batista, is just because maybe we dislike him away, he's not getting the rub. And he deserves it. Patchy Mix, I think he's super talented. Maybe it was a little bit of the limelight, you know, nerves.
Do you think it was too big?
But he's fought in championship levels all around the world. That's what I'm saying. It shouldn't have been. It's probably just a skill level gap, and that, you know, even mid-ranked guys in the UFC are going to somewhat be better, as we argued on the past, of the champions and other promotions.
And I didn't like the corner advice he was getting either.
Same thing from, I hate to say, for Tim Welch, man. I don't like him being so agreeable.
Yeah, sometimes. And he was like, hey, this is the round we needed.
You got to sometimes give the fighter not what they want to hear, but what they need to hear.
Real quick, and I don't mean to backtrack, but you brought it up and it made me reminded me after the first round between Sean and Merab, and he went back to the corner and Sean did the deep breath. I was like, oh yeah, it's not good. I was like, it looked kind of defeated already.
We're looking good. We're like, I forgot. It was just very encouraging where it was like that first round, you were in trouble. Bro took you down. Bro was giving you a lot of pressure. Yeah. You had some type of answer for it. And I don't think there was much good there. So just like you said with Patchy Mix, his game plan going in and then the corner work, it kind of worked against him. And Mario Batista came in. MMA Lab, bro.
Yeah. And did you hear him? He goes, I submit his coaches. Merab's just holding the belt. And they said, oh, you rolled around it. He goes, no, Merab's rolled with me. Like, what? And then you put on this performance? How dare you? Cut him.
No, I give him a super tough fight next, regardless. I give Patchy.
Are you giving Patchy a pass?
Not giving him a pass at all. No, but like you don't get a ranked fighter next. You get a very tough unranked fighter. I don't know who that would be. Maybe I got to look at the top 25. But I do think you want to get. He does have some stardom, right? We've been clamoring.
He has a name.
He's got a name. So I do think he still can sell and get a big fight, but it shouldn't be easy. He should not be getting no can. There are none in the UFC, but he shouldn't be getting any easy layups, so to speak. Maybe one that people are arguing we'll talk about for Atlanta, right? So between Moutinho making his return. So I got something for you with that.
Give Mario Batista like a Sang Yadong or like Petr Yan has a fight. I think he needs like a big fight. I don't think he fights Chito Vera. Like that doesn't do him anything anymore at this point. Like
no, right?
I don't know what to give him. Maybe Corey's gonna have the next shot. Petr Yan's booked. Umar, I think he's gonna fight Sean.
I was just like, give him Umar if anything. If Sean needs some time, right? You can do that. Mario Batista is deserving. If he's on a 9-fight win streak, a win over a top 5 guy gets him on a 10-fight win streak.
The sad thing is, we were talking about Merab. I think he's another guy like Bilal. Like you win 10 in a row, and you're still not there. Like what else do you need to do?
True.
It's sad.
Even if you finish people, it's still not going to get you the rub.
Shout out Mario Batista. We'll give you credit. And if you're on our show, you have all the mark time in the world.
Speak your mind.
Kevin Holland, man. I think he needs to stay at 170. He's very fun at 170. The submission he put on Vicente Luque, fantastic. He is now ranked in the welterweight division at number 14. What do you do with a guy like Kevin Holland, who like it seems like he wants to be active, but he's not really aiming for the belt?
Well, he's a fun guy to match up against good fighters, right? And him saying he wants to stay at 170, I think we've been asking for it, been begging for it, for him to kind of lock in, right? For him to lock in and want to compete for a title. You know, we're looking at a guy who he beat at, I think it was 170. Was I wrong, or was it 185 when he fought Joaquin Buckley the first time and knocked him out? Was that 185 or was that at 170?
Let me check that for you. I don't
But
recall.
you're looking in comparison for a guy who took it serious, and granted, he had some favorable matchups with older guys. Not everyone has been above 30, but you know, look what he's doing. He's possibly 1 fight away from a title, 2 fights away from a title. We could see that if Holland locks in at 170, who knows if Buckley loses this fight to Usman, maybe they could put that match together. Who knows?
So I don't even know when he fought Buckley.
They fought, yeah. So I remember slap, boom, straight, knocked him down, knocked him out. Yeah. So Kevin Holland, that's the thing, that length, bro, at 170, his jiu-jitsu, as we saw with him submitting Vicente Luque. We always like Kevin Holland. He's
he did.
He's vicious. It's just he's a jokester sometimes. Like he has that personality that kind of, you know, confuses you at times. Is he taking it serious? Is he not? But surely you don't want to be, you know, in an alley with that dude looking at you, you know, coming for your head. So it'd be nice to see him get a nice big matchup and possibly push towards top 15. And then who knows from there, maybe if the surging Buckley does, you know, drop one, maybe we get that match and that could just propel Holland back up into a title.
that was at middleweight. That was a UFC Apex card.
2020
August 8th. I'm trying to figure it out. It was a Derek Lewis, Alexander Olenek,
Alexei Olenek.
Alexic
Oh,
Olenek.
2 Alexei Olenek name drops today. How about that?
And you know who the co-main event was? The
No,
All-American. Chris Weidman.
Oh, it went to Uriah Hall.
No, he unanimous decision over Umari Akhmedov.
Oh, Umari Akhmedov, yeah, I remember that.
Scott Holtzman, Benel Dariush, Tim Means.
What a throwback card!
What a throwback card! It was at the Apex, hell of a card.
But
yeah, that was
Apex
at middleweight.
Like
that was at middleweight. Where the fuck was I, or where were you? Because
Kevin Holland, we're just discussing him at 170 compared to 185, and this is his home. 170 is where he needs to stay. 100%. Lock in, be committed, and we see the talent and we see the potential of him possibly fighting for a title. It's just about him taking it serious.
Joshua Van Maymar got one, kid. I mean, the kid is fantastic. He's so young. He's so active. He's becoming a little more patient in there as well. And shout out Bruno Silva. The guy is fucking gritty. He's tough. Yeah. Hard to put away. Eventually did at 401 in the third round. And, you're active and you get rewarded. He said he went to Sean and Hunter and saying, hey, listen, I want to be active. Okay, we'll call you in 48 hours. Here you go. Manel Cap did fracture his foot, and he steps in, and, you're rewarded. If he goes out there and beats Brandon Royval, he is next.
Title shot. Yeah. Royval gets it as well. Whoever comes out victorious at that. But I've always liked Josh Van. I remember I faded him his first time out against Kevin Borjas. Then he breaks the body shot record. From there, I fell in love with Josh Van and just his output. The dude just seems to have a motor, right? He seems to be able to throw his hand relentlessly. And I saw it. You look at his resume, he gets these third round finishes. As you mentioned, Bruno Silva, with respect to him, he's that tough dude where he's not going to let up until that latter round. So we hit, brother, plus 900 on the third round victory with Josh Van. He's making us a lot of bank ever since I faded him that first time. So I'm going to keep riding the high hand in Josh Van from the near future on out. I like this dude a lot, and we'll get to see him against that Royval because I like Brandon Royval too. Like 125 is hot in my opinion, and in a sense, you could thank Pantoja for kind of clearing it out, for being as dominant as he is. You're getting this level increase at 125. You're seeing these fighters get better and better because they're trying to get to the guy.
Yeah, and I think because he's clearing it out, you're starting to see guys. Steve Irsay got a big jump up. Joshua Van's getting a big jump up. So we'll see. I like that it's on the same card. We'll get a lot of clarity in that bantamweight division very soon in about 2 weeks. Was it 18, 17 days?
125 flyweight, right?
Yeah. What did I say? 135?
You said bantam, but with a lot of bantam fights on this card, so easy to
flyweight. Excuse me. Outside of that, man, your boy. Why did we fade him, Mirzakadov?
I don't know why you didn't put a bet, so you can't stop. But I faded him just based like he's so good, right? Mirzakadov is like so good, like he's unappreciated in a sense too, right? Do we have a need at light heavyweight for him to get up there? Like what kind of fight do you see that he can get?
He's a top 15 at this point.
He's 11. He's got to be at a top 10, right? It's a little wishy-washy in a division for me. That's why it's like
I hate the light heavyweight. What do you go? Volkan Ozdemir?
See, like it's got all question marks around it. I'll be real with you. Azamat's age makes me think he needs to get a title now because he's coming out of his prime. The way he's putting it on people makes me think he's ready for a title. But just the way that division's moving, it's going to hold him up. And when he's ready for it, after even he does get a couple of victories, he might not come out victorious. Who knows what's going to be ready for him when that time comes. So,
what about a Dominic Reyes?
I don't like that. I want Dom Reyes to just keep going on a streak, man. Because I think that would be a tough matchup for him. Azamat is very calculated. He's cold, right? He's in there. He doesn't show any emotion. And he just puts it on, like I said, he just puts it on people, bro. It seems those shots hurt, especially when he's throwing numerous ones. So he's got a gas tank. He's showing no emotion. He's just like a damn like Russian Syrup. He's like out of shape.
He's part of the KGB.
I was gonna say it's like a little chunky Ivan Drago in a sense, you know.
What'd you think of the Sergey Spivak Waldo fight? Because I don't want to say robbery. It was definitely a close fight, but I gave rounds 1 and 3 to Sergey. The 30-27 Costa is out. It's egregious.
We need to get him a mental health test, that judge.
But Yeah, that was the only one that left a bad taste in my mouth. I felt bad for Sergey.
I got the win for that, but I don't think I deserved it.
Other than that, shout out Gustafsson. He cashed plus 155, baby. Chaos did not look good.
No, I don't know what since the last time in Newark to now, he's got to go back to the lab. This is kind of the theme for today. Yeah. Go back to the lab.
And shout out my boy, Ju Sung Yo.
Korea,
what a knockout. 28 seconds. He came out hot.
Korea, you got one.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude looks the part too. He looks like a star. And I mean, I got to shout out Ricky Doobie, bro. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. They were like, they kept Jekka Saragwi in there at the main event. They never took him out. You just see the dude just flat on the ground while Sean and Marab were fighting in the main event. They kept him in there for 8 consecutive fights, bro. Still not moving.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious. Yeah, and, but overall, it was a great card. He got the fight of the performance of the night. Marab got a performance of the night. Kevin Holland got a performance of the night, and Kayla Harrison. No fight of the night, which I thought was interesting, but everyone else got bonuses. I was happy about that. How did you do record-wise?
Wish I did a little bit better, my man. I took a lot of chances. We did hit, though, over the weekend with BKFC. So my overall record is 6-13, man. I took a lot of bets. I've been playing clutch up. I'm going to try to lock in this week, bat it down, not as many picks, trying to get that record back to 500.
Yeah, I went 4-3. I took a shot with Caleb, but we hit on Gustafsson. He was at plus money as well. I lost the tight one with Sergey Spivak. We hit on Marab. We hit on Joe Pyfer. Patchy. You should take all my money for putting money.
But it's crazy because I don't know how I faded myself when I told everybody I was like, it's a trap fight. Like Mario Batista is going to win that fight. And I was like, I'm going to take.
You got to trust our gut. Got to trust our gut, kid. But overall, it was a great fight night. At Brick City fight night pay-per-view at Brick City. They had a good one. Newark's had a couple good ones back to back lately. So happy for that. And now we're on the road to International Fight Week, and I cannot wait for that. Before we get to UFC Atlanta, quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. It is no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World's Fair Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV. Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks. So just a kick, just like how we like our lives, whether it's Huckleberry playing around the golf with the boys or an elderberry watching UFC Atlanta, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Kick Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. Kid, we got an update. Top 4, Coastal, Arizona, tied 2-2. Hey, under 9 is looking good. That was my bet.
Yeah, they'll make you sweat.
100%.
But they're clutch.
All right, okay, let's get to it. UFC Atlanta at the State Farm Arena. Should be a good one. It's very close to you. How far is Atlanta to you?
6 hours.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
No, I'll be going there next week.
All right, kid. Are we starting all the way in the women's at the flyweight?
Me.
Yep.
I go and say I'm not going to have too many picks, but I had multiple picks for each fight last week. We're just going to lock in and have a pick for each fight this week. So UFC Atlanta starts off with the women's flyweight division. As D-Rock mentioned, you got Vanessa Demopoulos as a massive underdog, plus 480 here. I don't see how she's that big of a dog with the showcase of her wrestling in the past, but maybe because Jamie Lynn Horth is big for the division, they're giving Jamie Lynn Horth a minus 550 favorite here. I do favor her. I'm going to officially lean Jamie Lynn Horth because I think the size, I think she has good grappling. She hasn't had easy matchups since she's joined the ranks of the UFC, and she's proved herself pretty well. So I like the Canadian in this spot. And yeah, there's not real value. You got to have to be very picky at what you do. So that's why I'm just going to officially lean on the first play. I haven't had a lean for you guys in a while. So, pick a play on her how you may. Let's go.
Yeah, no pick for me here.
This next matchup, though, I think it's a 170. We have Phil Rowe stepping in, right? Ange Lusa already had a matchup with someone, and I think Phil Rowe stepping on a short notice. And of course, he's going to be a dog. He's going to be plus 120. Ange Lusa minus 120. I look, back at the resumes. I've seen a lot of the footage. Ange Lusa's a decision guy, right? He's technical, but he's slow paced in there. He's calculated, but he doesn't seem to push the envelope at times, as opposed to Phil Rowe, where, it's depending on how you're going to take this fight. It's either going to be Ange Lusa by decision, because that's how Phil Rowe loses his fights, or he's going to finish it because Phil Rowe is a bona fide finisher. I don't like Angelusa. So, yeah, I may not, be betting as smart here, but I think you look at Phil Rowe and you think that he's either going to get it or he's not. And I'm willing to say that he does. So as a dog price, you could take him straight up on the money line, but I'm going further and going to continue with his finishing ways. And I'm going to say Phil Rowe stepping on a short notice gets the win inside the distance. So give me Phil Rowe, ITD, plus 340. So I like those odds for a guy that is a bona fide finisher. And Angelusa, we see what happens. If the going gets tough, we've seen him opt out with Brian Battle. He can easily do the same here. So give me Phil Rowe inside the distance.
Yeah, I'm on Phil Rowe as well, plus 118. I'm not a big Angelusa guy here. Neither guy I think has had tremendous success in the UFC, but they're both hovering around 500 in the UFC. And Phil Rowe, he's been in a slump. He's been out of action for about a year. However, I think he's so much like physical. He is so much bigger than Lusa, 5-inch taller, 6'6" reach advantage. And I think he's a better striker as well. And I think he gets the job done. So plus 118, I agree. I'm going to be on the dog here for the first fight.
All right. There we go. The same side to start the card. Let's go into the next fight. I think another one, right? This is the bantamweight matchup, 135 pounds. Ricky Simon, Ricky Simone, minus 495, minus 500, taking on Cameron Smothering as a big dog, plus 400 about. I like the under 2.5 rounds at minus 115 here. We saw Ricky Simon. I know he was in his own crowd of Seattle last time out, and he got that knockout victory. But I don't know how proven Cameron Smothering is, right? If Ricky Simon can get another finish in this fight, it's going to be hard to take him straight up. But, Cameron Smothering, I've seen him from the Dana White Contender Series. He has the ability to finish as well, and it's slightly favored. So I like the odds that we're seeing here. I would like to see the a lot of finishes on this card. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to take the under 2.5 rounds between these two guys. You can see a finish either way at minus 115. I think it's a good straight bet, but I'll also, I'll put it as a first pick of my total parlay that I'll make. A 3-leg total parlay I'll give you.
Yeah, nothing for me, kid.
And then let's go right into another 125-pound bout. This flyweight matchup consists of Dirty Cody Durden. I mean, that's not his real nickname, right? But I got to call him that. He's Dirty Durden.
I like the new tattoo under his eye. That.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of tattoos on the eye, plus 165, Durden is a dog, and he's taking a proven Jose Ochoa at minus 145. I think we like the knockout ability of Jose Ochoa. The Peruvians are hot right now. We just saw it last night. So their ability to finish is it's on the map. But I'm hard pressed to see what I've seen last week and to see how wrestling has reared its ugly head and has proven to be so effective in here. That's what Cody Durden lives off of. He's going to wrestle you, and he's another guy that if he fails on a takedown, he's very well going to go in there and keep trying to take you down. He's not afraid to exchange on the feet either. So if he gives Jose Ochoa some toughness on the feet, gives him some trouble there, as soon as it hits the mats, I think it's Cody Durden's world. So I'm willing to take him at a dog price here at plus 165. I'm going to take Cody Durden.
Excuse me. I thought you said Cody Garbrandt.
No, Cody Durden.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, nice tattoo with the sword.
I thought you were saying Durden has an eye tattoo as well as Cody Garbrandt.
No, I was like, and then I'm hearing you talk. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm smacked.
Yeah. So nothing for you in that.
No.
Let's go away to a lot of 135 fights.
This one I do have a play in.
All right. So bantamweight matchup, Malcolm Wellmaker. He's getting a last minute replacement. Chris Moutinho, who I mentioned, is back, and he is being counted out more than I've ever seen any fighter ever get counted out before. What was Malcolm Wellmaker like a minus 25-1 favorite, right? Minus 2,500 favorite. Chris Moutinho was plus 900 to start. I seen him swell up to plus 1,200 just based off complete value. I'm taking Chris Moutinho. How can you count the guy out who went toe-to-toe with Sean O'Malley, didn't get put out, and then he goes on the circuit and has a 4-fight win streak right now? The dude should not be a plus 900 dog, but I can see why the odd makers are doing that. But I'm putting my money on Chris Moutinho, regardless if I'm going to lose it or not.
Yeah, I'm going under 1.5 rounds, minus 163. I think Wellmaker, he's made a big impression on the Contender Series, then topped it off with a first-round knockout in his UFC debut. He was able to quit his job, really impressed, and now he's going to take on Chris Murnito, who, he has to be willing to avoid getting caught clean. I don't know. After a 3-year retirement, I don't think
he was fighting. He was fighting that whole time, though.
Yeah, but not in the UFC.
See,
and I think Wellmaker is going to put him out clean. I just don't see him being able to not
I'm
get
still on the fence about some of these Dana White Contender Series guys.
Yeah, and that's fair.
I'm not completely sold, and that's why I'm like, they're just favoring this guy that massive. We've seen time and time again. Even Dana came out and said it. He's like, these guys, you can't, measure the determination, the heart and grit that these guys wanted to make the UFC. It's going to be immeasurable in this fight that you can't say Will Maker is going to be a 3-1, a 30-1 favorite. Like,
unless it turns into a jiu-jitsu match, which I don't see it happening, I think Will Maker is going to look to try to put his lights out. So maybe he proves me wrong, but under 1.5 rounds, that's how I'd play this.
I like that play. That's very smart to get the odds down and not have to take as much chance as I did. Let's go to a vet. We're talking about kind of like younger guys kind of trying to make a name for themselves. We got 2 guys here that have already made names for themselves, and they're just kind of like having a legacy fight here. 170 pounds. Michael Chiesa is minus 270 because we've seen Court McGee not look so good in his last couple of outings. Plus 310 is what Court McGee is getting on the odds here. I'm not sold on Court McGee here, but Michael Chiesa, it's a tough one to kind of put your money on either one of these guys, I feel like. So as D-Rock did before with taking a total in a smart fight, I'm going to take the total in this one. I think these guys are finishers. Court McGee is liable to get finished, but I think if he has his way, he's a really good hammer. And Chiesa is as well. His jiu-jitsu, his submission game is great. I would just hate to see these guys just stand and banging for the 3 rounds. So, maybe some grappling gets thrown in there. Maybe we get a submission. But, all I could take is one with Court McGee getting caught, and maybe even Chiesa as well. I'm going under 2.5 rounds at plus 165. It's not being favored. They do think these older guys are going to get to the judges, but I think they're going to go out there and just put a fight on for the fans, make it entertaining, and someone's going to sleep, whether it's, with the submission choke or if it's going to be a little catch on the chin. So, like I said, there's a good bet straight up at under 2.5 at plus 165, but that's the second leg of my totals parlay. I got one more cooking for you.
I love it.
Now, this is the main event of the prelims that we've made it to. Am I correct about that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
In the light heavyweight division, Paul Craig is being counted at as well. Plus 330 is he on the odds makers list. Let's go Rodolfo Bellato here. Man, how could you make him a minus 385 favorite? Right? Like, is he coming off of the draw with or did he have a fight after the draw with why am I drawing a blank on Jimmy Crute? He had a fight after that. He had a fight in between. I'm trying to recall.
Let me see. I'm pulling it up right now. Don't know off the top of my head if I'm being honest. He had a major Jimmy Crute. He had a draw.
Just a draw with Jimmy Crute, man. See, that's the only thing is like I'm going to be taking him here. I just don't see how you can make him that big of a favorite. Paul Craig is in all of his fights submitted 2 champions, right? Mago and Jamal. So you can never count out the Bear Jew. And I know people are going to be willing to take him, and all credit to you, but I just never really been a fan of his stand-up. Obviously, if it hits the mat, he could tap Bellato in an instant. I think a good bet, now that I'm seeing it, could be the fight to end in round 1 either way. I didn't place that bet because I went all in on Bellato getting the knockout, just straight up via KO TKO is minus 125. So it's slightly favored, and you can, milk those odds down a little bit. But now looking at it, I might just throw in a bet for that. I'm gonna side for Bellato with the KO TKO just because I get fearful. Every fight stays standing, every round starts standing. If Paul Craig can't lock in submission within that round, then it's going to be bad news. But I could see someone going out in the first round. I could see Paul Craig catching submission on Bellato, who seemed to be sloppy and grappling transitions at time, or Bellato just unloading. So let's see what we got here for the round 1 finish. Like I said, I'm doing this live for you guys. So it's only giving me specifics, right? They're only giving me each guy. I'm going to just place that bet. If I could tweet it later for you guys, you'll be all right with that. I can't seem to find it, but I think that's worth it. I think if you were to play fight to end in the first round, I think there's some value there for either guy. But I'm going to stick with the Bellato via KO TKO at minus 125 pick because that's a leg of a 2-leg parlay for me, a knockout hitters parlay. You have anything on that?
No, nothing. I got more in the main card.
All right, then let's get started. First fight of the main card for UFC Atlanta takes place as well in the light heavyweight division. We have Atomic Alonzo Menifield at plus 545, taking down Omar Sy at minus 600. I'm all over Omar Sy in this one. I think he's super talented. I think he's one of the next upcoming French superstars. He has the ability to grapple. He has the ability to strike, and he gets most of his jobs done in the first round. And that's exactly what I see here. We've seen Alonzo Menifield look really rough in his last couple of outings. I think C's going to win in the first round any way he wants. Give me that round one win at plus 250 for Omar C.
Love it. Nothing here, kid.
Now, we'll go to another matchup in the middleweight division, 185 pounds. We have Cody Brundage also being counted out tremendously at plus 600, taking a Mansour Abdul Malik at minus 500. I'll just cap off my totals parlay because I see this not going the distance. I haven't seen Malik in bad positions. You know, Brundage is a wrestler, and we have seen him finish. He surprised you. He really does. So, you know, Malik can knock anyone out. I think the under 2.5 rounds is valuable. It's minus 500, so the odds makers see it as well. And that's why I had made that 3-leg under parlay, because at minus 500, there's no value in it straight up. So that is the only play of these that's not a straight pick, but it is the cap of that 3-leg parlay. So the under in the Ricky Simon fight, the under in the Michael Chiesa fight, and the under in the Cody Brundage fight all gives you odds 3 legs at plus 495, almost plus 500 odds for these fights to finish inside the distance.
Let's go. Nothing here, kid.
All right. And so I need to hear your pick on this next one because I know you have something here. 135 pounds, the bantamweight division. One night, he was the greatest of all time. Cody
One night.
No love is being counted out as well. Plus 180. He's taking on Hany Barcelos at minus 200. Barcelos looked great in his outing, stopping and stalwarting a surging Peyton Talbot, right? We all thought he was the truth, and he got humbled by Hany Barcelos. What a veteran. What a guy. Could he do the same? Could he humble Cody Garbrandt here?
Yeah, I'm betting against that. Give me Hany Barcelos here.
Put him in. He will humble Garbrandt.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I wrote Cody Garbrandt, no love, quite a few years ago. I just don't think he has fight IQ, and the fact that his chin seemed to be gone as well. I don't know. He's won 2 of his last 3, but he didn't get knocked out, so maybe he's not totally shot. But I just don't trust him here against Barcelos. I like him in this matchup. And I don't think Cody Garbrandt's one-shot knockout power.
Grandpa, I like that.
Yeah, Grandpa. One-shot power, and he still, I think, is an overall better striker and a better grappler as well, Barcelos. So I'm going to take Barcelos here. I think you can put him in a parlay minus 198.
Yeah, you talk about IQ. I think Barcelos does have a lot. I think he's very smart in there. He's very pressure-oriented. He'll push you up at the Genge. He'll make it dirty in there. He's not going to make it fun for Cody Garbrandt, but you're not going to have me fade Cody Garbrandt, my man. I'm going to go down with the ship with Cody Garbrandt. I'm putting my money on Cody Garbrandt, taking no love at the dog price. You know, the one thing he still has is that power, man. So Hany Barcelos is a little older in age, and I know he could take a shot, but, man, sometimes you can't take one from Cody Garbrandt. So I'm going with the eye tattoo. I'm going with one more title run for Cody Garbrandt. We'll see what happens there. May the best man win. Hany Barcelos is a great pick for you, my boy.
Let's go.
And now we're at the featured bout. You know, as much as I don't fade Cody Garbrandt, you'll always see me faded Edmen Shahbazyan. Middleweight division 185. He's hot, though, right? Minus 165. He looks to be the right side. Petrosky stepped in on short notice here, right?
Yes.
Plus 155. Dude could grapple. You know, I think the fear with Petrosky is what we've seen with Jacob Malkoun, right? He got knocked out with the hip, right? Like, there were some weird situations Petrosky as of late. He went undefeated to start his UFC career, and he's dropped a couple. So I can see why they're favorite is Shahbazyan. But, man, as much as I would say that he has the advantage on the feet and Petrosky with the grappling, I'm just never backing Edmen Shahbazyan. I will never back Edmen Shahbazyan ever. So I'm going to take the plus money with Andre Petrosky, taking a Philly guy and hoping that he gets it to the mat. Because if he does, it may be his world. So let's see if he can get him out of there. But I'll take the plus money with Andre Petrosky, even though I know Edmen Shahbazyan is the hot hand.
Yeah, either Shahbazyan's going to get the knockout or Petrosky's going to get the submission. Okay. I can't see either fight going 3 rounds because both fighters, finish or almost get finished almost every time they're out. So I think for Petrosky, he needs to get Shahbazyan to the canvas, get him down early, and just wrestle. If he can get a dominant position on the ground, I think he's going to get plenty of opportunities to get the submission.
He's thick, he's got that weight and that muscle, man. He could hold him down. But Shabazian being lanky and long, he could just hit him at the end of punches.
Yeah, and I think if Shabazian forces him to box, Petrosian is going to get knocked out and probably to the shadow realm. So under 2.5 rounds, I like. And I'm going to take the dog here. Give me Petrosky here at plus 152.
Hey, value. Some value in that one. And like you said, both guys seem to have been close to being finished in a lot of their fights past. So you can see that here easily, man. I like the under, and worth it to pick the dog in that spot.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is for all the marbles. Will we ever hear the intro again after this fight? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to. I don't want to hear it no more. It's Mavericks time. It's Miranda Mavericks time here. The odds makers are giving me tremendous value for this flyweight fight. They're saying she's a dog. She's got no chance to win this fight. What has been a consistent here? No, I picked some knockouts here and there. I'm biased towards my grappler. The consistency we've seen last week in this one is the wrestling. Miranda Maverick can wrestle. She can out-wrestle a lot of opponents. She's not scared to stand on the feet, too. Rose is going to want to keep this fight standing. She's going to land her combos. And, she has to throw up a submission in the wrestling exchanges. She can, and she will. But I just think Miranda Maverick is too strong, too dominant in those positions, and I think that's where it's going to wind up. I don't think there's value on Rose Namajunas here at minus 200. They're counting out Miranda Maverick. I think she's been biding her time. She's deserving of this spot. And I think it's her time, man. I'm going to take Miranda Maverick as a dog at plus 225. Not going to go anywhere else with it because I do think everything's on the table for her. It's so valuable to her at plus 225 on the money line. You could see her path to submission. You could possibly see a ground and pound finish. Don't know necessarily about on the feet because how skillful Rose has been, but also a dominant winner in the judges is on the table. So I want to hear how you're going to take this fight.
Yeah, one thing I could tell you for sure is that we're not going to have another theme song after this weekend. Rose Namajunas, Thug Rose, she's going to win this fight. She's seen the scorecards in each of the past 6 fights. 3 losses, three wins. And, I don't think this time's going to be any different. Unlike her last fight against cold-blooded Blanchfield, in which, Blanchfield, she had the edge in grappling. Namajunas should have the advantage everywhere and anywhere in this fight, wherever it wants to go with Miranda Maverick. Against Blanchfield, Namajunas was up 2-0 on the judges' scorecard and then lost the final 3 rounds. So I don't think she's going to make the mistake against another heavy grappler wrestler. Instead, I do think Namajunas is going to keep the fight up, control the pace, turn up the volume in the striking, and I think she's going to win a decision victory. So minus 141, I'm going to take Rose to win via decision.
Man, do you think there's a chance of a split, or do you think if she wins, she'll cruise to a unanimous?
Cruise.
So you got it. They might get some more value if anyone's willing to go put that unanimous decision victory for Rose Namajunas. You'll probably squeeze that minus 140 prop bet even further down. I think you'll have to get more value, right?
I think 140 is good. I think it's
not
good,
bad.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Not bad.
Down to minus 225. Heavy favorite.
I just asked you since you're cruising, and you're saying no.
I do think she cruises.
As confident, I would think to hit that. That's why I think I might go and cross the North
Carolina
Carolina
how
border.
These judges are fickle.
30-27 Miranda Maverick on one scorecard. What in the world?
Crazy.
So let's do the main event here. We've made it to UFC Atlanta's main event. 3-year hiatus for one of the combatants in here. It's a 170-pound matchup between Kamaru Usman, ex-champion, veteran. We missed the Usman era. I think we took it for granted when he was champion. And the odds makers, Vegas, everyone's saying he doesn't have a shot with the young legend killer that is
Numansa.
Yeah, you mean Buckley. So plus 240 for Usman, minus 250 for Numansa. I had to go with Buckley, my boy. As much as I do like Usman, the Nigerian nightmare that he is, man, I just think that he's like exactly that. We've seen Randy Orton in his prime. He was exactly that. He was the legend killer, and that's why I gave Joaquin Buckley. I anointed him with that nickname because, yeah, he had not every fight has been with fighters over 30, but for the majority they have, and he's putting them down. He's retiring them pretty much, and I think that will continue here. Not necessarily retire Usman, but I think he's too old. I think the knees. I think there's a lot of factors. The layoff. I think they're all going to come into play, and Usman does look good, but Buckley looks better, and I can't not ride the hot hand in the main event here. Give me Numansa via TKO. I'm seeing the TKO possibly more. I think if he emphasis on the leg kicks, maybe, or if he does catch him flush, because you see Buckley is super powerful. I don't know how Usman will respond to a shot from him since he hasn't been away for so long. So, I had that Bellato KO TKO before, and with Numance's KO TKO, even though it's a straight bet at plus 175, let's make you that 2-leg parlay, the knockout hitters parlay, which I said was Bellato and Buckley at plus 395. So some good value on the parlays for you, and that'll do it for me.
Yeah, new guard is rising in this welterweight division. 31-year-old Numança. He's looking to follow exactly what JDM did, Sean Brady. They both beat former champs in their recent fight. And, Buckley, I think he's been impressive making the move from middleweight to welterweight a few years ago. And, I don't see his, 6-fight winning streak. I don't think it stops here. As long as this fight stays on the feet and Buckley doesn't allow Usman to hold him against the cage, I think he should win this fight. He's the better striker. Now, the question is, can Usman turn this into a wrestling match and make it competitive? I think it's possible, but given his knees, given he's 38 years old, given the inactivity.
And that's never been a strong suit, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The wrestling
and I do think he's one of the best welterweights of all time. I will say that, but he hasn't fought since October of 2023. He's taken on a young, dangerous fighter in Numança. So
hungry.
I'm gonna take Buckley here to win via KO TKO at plus 175.
Wow, we both hit that. Yeah, I see it. I see he's gonna be hunting it, and he might come out the gate storming Usman, and we're gonna see if Usman responds well to it. But I'm not gonna put my money on Usman, man. I can't after a 3-year layoff and everything that we've seen. So
it's unfortunate though. Even though I think if he does get this knockout win, or even just a win, I don't think he gets a title shot.
No,
because Islam's probably gonna fight him. Where leaves Shavkat? Where's Sean Brady fight?
There's a little bit to do. He's gonna have to fight, and after he wins this,
he's gonna have to fight 10 times.
He's gonna have to sit.
Everybody.
He's gonna have to sit and wait and see how it works out with the other matchups, and then they'll maybe
Remember, it's like the voice note that I sent you. If everyone thinks they're deserving, okay, show me. Go and fight.
Yeah. I think him getting a finish, though, as we both put the money down on the KO TKO, we're aligned there. What's the worst that could happen? Yeah. I think that statement does him plenty of favors. But if he goes to decision and wins, I think that doesn't really help him too much. And especially if he loses, I think it's going to hold him back a lot.
All right, kid, let's get to we have some news before we get on out of here. Like I mentioned at the top, Manel Kape is out. He was forced to withdraw from his fight against Brandon Royval. He has a foot fracture. It just keeps on happening. It seems like, yeah.
Even with the foot guard and the shin guard, it was crazy. He might be next.
It's kind of a pick 'em.
I mean, Kape might be cursed, bro.
He might be.
Yeah, look at everything that was supposed to happen for him, and it hasn't yet, right?
It's very unfortunate. God's timing is the best, so we will see. But what do you give Joshua Van? What do you give his chances? Because he's a plus 120 underdog right now. He's close on the books.
I like I said, I like the dude a lot. I think the X factor is we haven't seen Van grapple all too much. We know Royval, he gets raw, so he gets that nickname. He gets in there. So I think that's the biggest thing. I think I would honestly, as much as I hate to fade Josh Van, I think that X factor is big. I think Royval has a submission out. I think he could cruise to a decision victory if he hits the mats, and I think he's able to compete on the feet. He also is a guy who throws a lot of volume. He's got a gas tank. So I think it's a tough fight for Josh Van. I think he'll shock the world if he does beat the number one contender at flyweight, and he deserves a title shot if that happens. But I think the card's going to be stacked against him. So I'll be honest with you, as much as I hate to do it, I might favor Brandon Royval.
UFC 319 in Chicago is getting stacked. I'm just going to name some of the fights that were announced. The Killer Gorilla, Jared Cannonier taking on Michael Venom Page.
Woo!
Brian Battle taking on Nursultan Ruzabeyev.
Okay.
Jessica Andrade, Hall of Famer, taking on Lupi Godinez.
Okay.
Gerald Meerschaert taking on Mikhail Oleksiejczuk.
Oh, Chicago's getting the GM3 experience and Husar.
I love it.
That's a great fight.
What are your thoughts on Jared Cannonier taking on MVP? I think that's a banger.
That's a banger. The ageless wonder that Jared Cannonier, he's got that power still. I think he could throw Michael Venom Page some fits. I really do. If he's not able to, keep the pacing and the distance and play his range game as much. And we've seen MVP evolve. He's able to grapple and stuff like that.
Why is he moving to 185?
I don't know. Maybe he's a little older. Maybe it's harder to cut to 170 now. Didn't he have an issue last time out?
I don't know.
Did he miss weight?
He made weight. He made weight.
But it could be difficult for him, and maybe
it's difficult for everyone.
It is, but maybe he's saying, you know what? Maybe I'll have a little more power. Maybe he was cutting a little too much to get to 170. Now he can fight at a natural weight. I think there's an argument for those out there. You just mentioned Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Dude fights at his natural weight, and he's a problem. So there could be some precedent for these guys starting to fight at a natural weight class because you're completely hydrated and you're replenished, and you're going to have more power. You even have more of a gas tank because you have more fuel to work off. So, I don't see a problem with him going to 185.
No, I don't either.
See him maybe move fast in that division, depending on what happens.
We'll see what happens, but could be a really big step for MVP.
I liked all those fights you mentioned.
Yeah. Should be a really good one in Chicago. But all right, kid, let's end it. 10 seconds left. You got kickboxing and I got boxing. Why don't you lead us off?
Hell yeah, bro. Glory 100, ladies and gentlemen. The biggest event in Glory kickboxing history. 4 title fights in a row. To cap off the card, I will only be picking a winner in the main event, though. And it's for the Glory Kickboxing Heavyweight Championship, the GK Heavyweight Championship. Rico Verhoeven. Well, you talked about Phil the Fry earlier, who hasn't lost in almost 10 years. The Dutch kickboxer, the heavyweight champ, hasn't lost a fight in 10 years. He hasn't lost since 2015. But familiar name here, he's taking on Artem Vakitov. Does that ring a bell for you, D-Rock?
No.
Artem Vakitov, remember he had the finish in the Dana White Contender Series and he did not get the contract? He beat Alex Pereira. Remember that guy?
Oh, wow, yes.
He's back in Glory Kickboxing, so he's taking on the champ. And normally he fought at light heavyweight, so he's stepping up to a heavier weight class to fight the greatest of all time, Enrico Verhoeven.
Wow.
Does he have enough to climb the mountain that is the defending Dutch champ? I don't think so. I think he just falls short a little bit every now and then, and especially when the stakes are this high. I think Rico Verhoeven retains. I think he's going to be the champion until he retires. So
was he a big favorite?
I think he's slightly favorited.
Okay. Interesting.
I got to go with Rico Verhoeven regardless. If you're going to go out there and pick a bet for him, Vakitov is very talented. I know I'm dragging his 10 seconds a little bit, but I would say Rico Verhoeven gets a knockout. I really do. I think if you want to go hunt some prop bet and want to get some value out of him, because like I said, he's favorited. Yeah, I'll go Rico Verhoeven with the knockout. And you can get some value on that as compared to taking him in the decision, or if you were to go the other end. So I think it's going to be a great matchup. It's like I said, the biggest event in their history. It's Glory 100, and I'm picking the 10-year undefeated champ, Rico Verhoeven.
All right, I'm going to go out to the theater in the Garden tomorrow night. George Kambosos is taking on Richard Hitchens. Hitchens, huge favorite, 12-1 favorite against George Kambosos. Total is at 10.5. To be honest, man, Kambosos, he's arguably lost 4 of his last 5 and for the eye test, and he just hasn't looked the same fighter since, he got that win over Timofey Lopez a few years ago. But I don't know, man. He struggled. The main factor, we struggle to see Kambosos, have success here. And overall, I think it comes down whether or not Richardson Hitchens can stop Kambosos in this one. He's talked about it. He said, I'm going to knock him out. And, it all sounds good. But, Hitchens, he's on a run of 4 straight decision victories heading into this fight. While Kambosos, he's gotten stopped for the first time in his career against Vasily in his last fight last year. And that came late in the 11th round. So I like the over 10.5 rounds. But unless Hitchens could get a stop here, I think he's going to just cruise into a decision victory. So I'm going to get Richardson Hitchens to win by decision at 190.
Wow, dude.
190.
So you're fading Kambosos.
Yes.
Fading Kambosos.
He's a dud. And I don't like him coming into the weigh-ins with a Knick jersey on. Fuck you doing?
Yo, my bad. You're right. I didn't mention the odds. Yeah, Verhoeven was a -600 and Vakitov is +400.
Okay.
So yeah, you got to squeeze that down, and I'm willing to go say he gets the job done inside the distance. There's a lot of good. Donovan Weiss is fighting Michael Boapea. There's a lot. There's
Shakur's cousin. He's back in action. He's on the card too tomorrow.
If you have time to check out all these other fights besides the UFC, I would do so. I mean, this weekend's stacked. Like I said, KSW is going to be entertaining. Glory's going to be entertaining. The boxing may even. Baseball all weekend. You name it, it's going to be fun.
Speaking of baseball, Coastal Carolina just took the lead 3-2, bottom 5, kid. Let's fucking go.
Just like the Mets.
Yep. Any last words before we get out of here?
Just enjoy it. I'll catch you guys in a hotel in Atlanta next week, and we'll be locked in. So can't wait for that.
Enjoy the fights. Good luck on all your bets, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.